Hi everyone, this is Vivek Shrivastava. Welcome to my channel. And today we have for you a very special guest episode. We have Mr. Siddhartha Rastogi with us, who is the COO of AMBIT Asset Management. And he's had 22 years of work experience in the financial services industry and with specialization in the cognitive finance and behavioral economics areas. And because these are such interesting areas and topics, I'm very, very excited to hear what he has to say. I'm sure it's going to be very, very interesting. I heard him speak once at an event, and it was absolutely amazing. He has tremendous energy, and he has a wealth of knowledge that will leave you just completely amazed. So thank you so much, Siddhartha, for joining us. And I'm sure we're going to hear a lot of interesting, valuable information from you. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into all of this.
So Vivek, it's a long journey. I was born at a very small place in Uttar Pradesh and then grew up at even a smaller place in the remotest of UP. After that, I studied in Delhi. Then I came to Bombay and did my master's, and I was a gold medalist from one of the top D schools of Mumbai. Subsequently, I got into the job, and my first job was dealing with corporates, large corporates, structuring debt for them. Mm-hmm. And there, interestingly, one of my tasks was also to manage the risk, because some part of that debt which we are going to be giving, it will be taken on our books and some would be sold to others. And it was predominantly securitized debt. And I was a pioneer in doing that securitization along with my team members for the first time in India. Interestingly, then I recognized that most people who believe that everything is data driven, everything is evidence driven, everything works with logic, actually isn't so. And it was quite confusing for me back then, because I straight passed out from the B school, and the B school learning was very different. The studies in the normal environment was very different. And then I realized that the decisions we make, the decisions we take, are essentially not the outcomes of all the data, all the nuances which are present to us. And that's when my journey began. And over the years, then from the investment banking, corporate banking, I moved into the private banking side. I worked with Citibank, I worked with HSBC. And fortunately, I had the privilege of working with the HSBC's biggest wealth branch, where I was the branch manager in the most expensive piece of real estate in India, which is Pedder Road, Nepean Sea Road in Mumbai. And that's where I learned that irrespective of how much money people have, they still tend to act irrational for the marginal excess. So you may have thousands of crores, but if you lose 50 lakhs, the pain is the same. Why so? It intrigued me even further. Then I co-founded a wealth management company along with several colleagues, and which is a listed company now, IFL Wealth or India Infoline Wealth. And then for last 14 years, I've been with AMBIT.
Wow, you co-founded IIFL?
Wealth, that's correct. I'm not India Infoline, but India Infoline Wealth.
Okay.
I was the second employee of IFL Wealth.
Wow, that's amazing. I had a demat account with them. I just recently closed it. Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Right. So last 14 plus years, I'm with AMBIT, helped them co-found the private banking for them. And then for last 7-8 years, 9 years, I've been helping them spearhead the asset management side. So I'm the chief operating officer and the principal officer for AMBIT Asset Management.
Nice.
Now, the interesting part here is the question revolves as why, as you rightly asked, why cognitive side? Because that's the area of the entire body which is known least to the rest of the world. And that's the part of the body which weighs only 8%, maximum 7 to 8% of your body, but consumes 30% of your energy.
Can you expand on that a little bit? I'm a little confused. Uses
30% of the energy consumption of the body is by the brain.
Yes, I was aware of that. So, okay. So that's what you're talking about, the brain. Okay.
And have you ever thought, why are people generally lazy? Why do people generally postpone things? Why do people generally don't want to take risks in life? Why do people don't want to take adventurous things in life? Generally, why? Why are they fearful? The reason is
pain, maybe.
So pain, but
what by pain? I mean, exertion, hard, that kind of.
But what is exertion? So think about it. If you have to, and it's a very simple thing. Imagine if your office is at A point, and if your house is at B point, and from B point to A point you go every day. You take a particular route. And there are 3 routes which connect B to A and A to B.
Right.
What is the probability that on a regular day you will take the 3rd route, not the first usual route?
Just because you've gotten used to it, like habit, right?
But what is that habit? Why do habits form? And why aren't you taking the other route? The reason why do we do things the way we do?
Right.
And that's the cognitive science. And why do the ads before every movie, those ads about smoking kills, and they show some horrendous pictures appear in the theater? And why do people every time close their eyes or shy away from it, still not quit smoking when they know that this is what can be the potential outcome?
Right.
Why the effectiveness of those ads is less than 0.5%, is less than 0.5%?
Really? Wow. I didn't know that. Yeah.
And why do certain ads which are celebrities, the top-notch celebrities, despite of they endorsing that product well, those products fail miserably? There are celebrities which endorse the products, fantastic products. Why do they still fail? Why, without certain celebrities, certain ads do spectacularly well? Why? Then, if certain ads without celebrities do so well, why does the world or the marketers or the businesses still chase those celebrities and pay them a bomb to hire them and make the ads for them?
Wow.
What is the logic? What is the logic? What is the conundrum?
So, Sidhart, you were saying, I think was it at the IIFL or at the subsequent company you got into
AMBIT.
this? So,
after IIFL, I joined AMBIT. I've been here for last 14 odd years.
No, but when did your journey into this type of cognitive and behavioral sciences, how did you get into it? Who taught you? Did you read books? I mean, how would,
Yes.
like let's say I want to also learn and get good at, have a certain level of knowledge and expertise of this. How would I go about it? Because I don't even know. Like, I know where to become an engineer. I know where to get an MBA, but I don't know where to learn any of this.
So this, as I mentioned, this journey actually started for me way back, 22 years. That's when the questions started to emerge in my mind. And then in search of those answers, I kept Googling, I kept searching, I kept reading books and various books. I don't even remember some of the names, because what I used to do is wherever I used to get certain interesting notes, interesting articles, interesting books, I would make notes of it. And then I would try and apply in my life and see it clearly around me. And I would see evidence of it repeatedly. And that's how this journey. And then I wrote a book which bombed. I wrote a book in 2017, which was 8-minute decisions, and how do people take decisions, and The book was more that if you take an event, and if there are certain options, how should you take the decision? Because the way you will take the decision will determine the outcome. So if I have to say, who's Vivek? Why is Vivek the way he is today? Because Vivek is nothing but an outcome of all the decisions who Vivek has taken through the years, through 20, 30, 40 years, whatever is your age. And every decision shaped you in a different manner. If the decision which you took would have been contrarian, you wouldn't have been sitting in front of me.
Right.
Or the decision which you thought you should take, but you didn't take, maybe you would have been a billionaire today. Who knows?
Absolutely.
Right? So I wrote a book, and then I did a lot of research that how do you take a decision which is in accordance with the providence? Because one fundamental fact which I am deeply absorbed in is that whosoever is born on this planet has a purpose in life. Nobody comes on this planet without having a purpose. And if there is a purpose, most people don't know about that purpose. Number two, nature is only an enabler. Nature can never be a disabler for you. So if nature is an enabler, how do you ensure that your thinking, your viewpoint, and your decision making is actually in sync with the providential decision making? And if you are able to do that sequentially, you will only win. Even if there are hurdles, those hurdles are there to make sure that you grow. You grow because there is a larger opportunity to be grabbed.
But I believe that myself, that everyone comes in with a purpose, but I also think a lot of times people miss their purpose and kind of, you could almost
100%.
say, live a wasted life almost, in a sense.
100%. Yeah. Absolutely.
In fact, I'd say a large percentage of people do that.
100%. Yeah. The interesting stats around that is that only 7% of the people cross an age of 70, and roughly only, so we know that the average longevity, so if you look at any country's average age, most of them are north of 70, 72, 73, and if you go to the developed world, it is even higher.
Right.
But if I look at the entire population, which is of 8 billion people or 8.1 billion people, the interesting data is that only 40% of the people cross 45 years of age. So most people who come on this planet, by the time they are right to go and deliver their purpose, they are already gone. Right. And that's why it's very interesting to learn the art of knowing your purpose, achieving it, and also ensuring that
right.
in your journey of life, how do you make sure that you don't die interim, unnaturally? You don't meet with, unplanned deaths, because most people who are born on this planet typically have as per Sanatan Dharma, everybody has a life of 120 years.
Potentially.
Unfortunately, seldom, as I can count in numbers, people achieve that. If you achieve above 80, then you have at least lived broadly some part of your life in a decent manner, and you are able to give back to the society. So those are different philosophical conversations we can have it some other day. So coming back to your point.
So how did you get into it? Like, in terms of the specifics of learning all this, are there classes for this, or did you? So
there are books. So not so many classes. I didn't attend any classes, but books were my best friends. So I learned quite a bit from the books, because when you read a concept and when you apply, then you automatically get to know the deeper aspect of it.
Right. That's where I think, marketing fails a lot, or especially for startups, because they'll go in and they might even do some market research, market analysis, whatever, but they don't take this part of it into account, and then they end up failing because, they release whatever it is they're doing and nobody is interested in it and so on.
And the interesting part is, Vivek, not only startups, established companies as well.
Yes.
Established companies as well. You would be surprised to know that approximately in India itself, roughly around 35 to 40,000 products are launched every year.
Yeah, I believe that.
Globally, it may run into maybe 500,000 products.
Easily, yeah.
The interesting stats around that is 75 to 80% of those products fail completely. Despite of marketing, despite of buzz, despite of creating visibility, 70 to 80%, only 20% of the products actually survive beyond a year and a half.
And even that survival, I mean, if they're not making a significant profit, then even that's not very good.
Correct. So only a few of them actually cross. So few means, when I say in percentage terms, not more than 3 to 5% of the total, they actually survive a longevity of 36 months to a 16 months period.
Wow. I think the numbers are true for startups as well, something similar, where 90% of startups fail and so on.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. And believe me, doing this, what I'm doing, there's just so much potentiality for failure. Just putting aside even just the marketing side of it, just all of it, from legal to the software, hardware, this, that, just all of it.
So the biggest challenge is that the way people are generally used to looking at things is, they see a success story,
right?
And when they see a success story, they believe that they can replicate it very, very quickly.
Yes.
And that's when there's a herd mentality. There are lakhs of people who are trying to replicate the same thing, and then eventually they end up just losing money.
Yes.
People who are successful, if you count the people who are in the graveyards, unfortunately, nobody goes to the graveyard. So for every successful people, you have lakhs of people who are unsuccessful.
Yes.
Now, one of the biggest reasons why startups, and since you touched upon startups, why startups fail is, they first create a product thinking what I have created is fantastic, without figuring out how the monetization of that product and how the consumer behavior towards the product would be.
Right.
If that wouldn't have been the case, Coke, despite of bringing all the zero Coke, diet Coke, zero calorie Coke, that white Coke, silver Coke, all kinds of Coke, the most selling brand still remains the traditional red Coke, the high calorie, full calorie Coke.
I think they're just trying to throw like stones out there and see if anything hits, probably.
It's not that. So they are worried. They are worried that at some point in time, this may fizzle away.
Yes.
And hence they are trying to find a brand which can sustain if this existing brand fades away. Unfortunately, when such thing happens, the entire business goes down the dogs. And that's the classic case with Kodak. When Kodak lost to digital cameras and lost to the smartphones, no other product from the Kodak basket could make it big. And similarly for Motorola, similarly for Nokia. So remember your identity, and that's there are two parts of our brain, subconscious brain and conscious brain. We all know about it. And so we have two systems which are running in parallel. One is system one is system two. Most of our immediate cognitive responses are basis system one, which is deeply embedded in our subconscious mind without we even realizing it. Then the conscious mind just does one thing to justify the actions of the subconscious mind. However, for the conscious mind to be active, that only happens when there is a unplanned hostility which comes in, where the question is not of survival. For example, if I have to ask Vivek that would you like to learn Spanish, then what will happen is, if you have no connection with a language learning experience in the past, you have never been to Spain, and you have no viewpoint on Spanish language, then you will start weighing multiple options. How quickly would I learn? What is my opportunity cost for the time I am spending on the Spanish learning? How far or how effortless is the commute, if there is one, to go, or the teacher would come? What are the economics behind it? And then I would weigh. So that's a system two, or a conscious decision. However, in this conscious decision, I put just one caveat. You have gone to Spain 7 years back, and you had been mugged in Spain. Now, that has no connection with your learning of the Spanish language. However, as soon as when the Spanish language word would come, your brain would go back to that experience and would immediately react to it and would say that, hey, look, I'm not interested.
Right.
Although it may be a business opportunity for you. So that's the way our subconscious mind behaves. Similarly, so I was talking about the ad. Why don't ads which are played in the beginning of the all the movies, which are not very pleasant to look at? You see all distorted faces, you see all distorted,
the anti-cigarette ads, you mean?
The cigarette ad, yes. So those are very, very, I would say, unkind, horrendous, if I may use the word,
Absolutely.
to look at, right? You would just want to shy away from them.
Right.
And why aren't they effective? The reason they are not effective is because we have two primary drivers for our motivation.
Pain and pleasure.
One is love, one is fear. We know that. Every other emotion percolates down from these two primary human emotions. Every other. There is no third emotion. If I just keep clubbing the next step, you will keep going backward. You will find only these two emotions.
Right. They emerge from one of those two.
Everything emerges from these, one or the other.
What about pain and pleasure? I think of it more as we move towards either pleasure or shy away from pain. Where does that fit into your?
So if it is pain, and if it is pain which is previously experienced, it is out of fear.
Okay. Yeah, fear of pain. Okay.
The fear of pain. And whilst certain people love that pain, want to go through that pain, why does that happen?
Right.
Because when you conquer that pain, in the past you have done it.
Okay.
You have done it. You loved it, and hence the primary, despite of pain being there, you love that pain, and that's where people start using that. Why do you think drug addicts, if I put a syringe in you, you will start, may not be you, but if you put a syringe in me, I will have tremendous challenges, as in I would actually not be, I'll just be short of crying, put it this way, and I'm 40 plus.
Right.
So why do people who are drug addicts, they put 30, 40 syringes in a day,
But
and
not even syringes. There's masochists, right? Like the whole BDSM genre. There's people who want to have painful things done to them, and they actually get excited by that.
absolutely.
So
Why?
why
Because
is that? Yeah.
so the reason is because their subconscious mind has the feeling of love or enjoyment or pleasure, which is all love, which is not negative emotion. And hence they embrace. And that's where, remember, so coming back to your point, the question which you asked, and it is very much related to the ads which are shown on the theaters. It has the same link. What is this link? The link is love factor. So when we make habits, we don't make habits out of fear. All the habits which are formed, they are formed out of love.
So love for the pleasure of smoking.
So no.
No.
So what happens is, let's look at this way. Let's take two examples. Let's take two examples of cigarettes.
Just, if I may just interject, in my mind, and I'm guessing a lot of people viewing might also think this, the smoker who continues smoking even after seeing those horrifying ads is because his love for smoking outweighs his fear of that, whatever those pictures are.
No.
Okay.
He doesn't literally care about the fear at all.
Okay.
So because those ads are absolutely not impacting him, because as soon as he sees that horrendous ad, and the lady with a bulging tooth, and all operated,
the tube through the throat and all that,
absolutely, the inside organs, etc., coming out, bulging out, he or she, within as quick as nanoseconds, either closes the eyes, turns away the face, or turns away the attention. Everything.
Avoidance.
It's avoidance. Okay. And as soon as avoidance happens, the impact of the ad does not even get registered.
Doesn't penetrate.
And then through the conscious to the subconscious mind.
Okay.
And hence that ad is not able to make any difference. However, what if I say, what do people generally love the most, Vivek?
Love the most? I guess it varies from person to person, right? I would say
there's one thing every single human being on this planet loves the most.
Attention, admiration from others, respect, admiration from others, I guess, hazard.
So there are two things. Number one, the person loves himself or herself the most.
Right.
Number two, the name. His or her own name.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So coming back to the same. So now joining the dots.
Okay.
If somebody is smoking cigarette and somebody believes that he or she can become much more beautiful if he or she stops smoking, can that be a trigger to stop smoking? Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Number two, there are you have seen certain events happen in people's lives, and then they quit smoking in a nanosecond. It happens. So there are people who leave because they start seeing that their smoking is impacting their child, whom they love most.
Got it. Yeah.
Immediately, if that incidence hits or registers their brain, they stop smoking the very moment. Somebody who loves a sport, loves or just is cut out for that thing, and if smoking becomes a hindrance, that person drops it. So you have to find a bigger reason of love for you to quit. A fear can be a deterrent for a moment. It cannot change the behavior. The behavior comes back to the average. Hence, when you say you try and discipline a guy who's rogue, give him the best of things for 1 day, 2 days. You okay? Why do you think in olden days or this concept of jailing came in, and why after 14 years, 15 years, 5 years, 3 years, after a certain duration? One is obviously the punishment. The second is that maybe in that environment, although now that environment also has become bad, but in that environment, he is not able to follow that habit. If you cut that habit, that's when with the positive reaffirmation, the person can change. Otherwise, as life, everything tends to come to the average. And similarly, our character, our behavior also goes back to our same average.
Okay.
Coming back to so this is one. Now, if for someone who is getting into cigarette, why do they start doing that cigarette smoking? Why do they start doing cigarette smoking? Very simple. First couple of experiences are good.
Right.
Then they start enjoying it, and then it gets into a habit. Does it happen because of the fear that somebody is going to hit me? The answer is never. When you get into drug addiction, does it happen because of the fear? The answer is never. Anything, good or bad habits, happen because of the love of it. And if you give a motive bigger than the current motive of you doing a bad thing, which is positive, the habit can change.
Right. And the simple examples we hear about a lot is like, people give up smoking and drinking because they substitute it for a healthier habit, like exercising.
So healthier exercise is what? Now, healthier exercise is when person starts running, we all know that you have good hormones which start.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you have endorphins which start kicking in, and you see that when people start jogging, running, or doing any physical exercise, they make a group. And if the group ostracizes that person for smoking, to be in the group, to be part of the tribe, right, the person would quit.
Will quit. Wow. Yeah. Tribe. I hadn't thought of it that way. Yeah, but tribe mechanics. Yeah.
So then the tribe mechanics also plays a subconscious role, because you don't want to be ostracized. Right. Because then our 8,000 years back evolution theory comes into play.
Right.
That we want to be in the tribe, because if we are out of the tribe, the wild animals are going to kill us.
You're basically dead. Yeah.
You're dead. Yeah. Hence, you want to be part of the tribe.
And women have that more than men, because men can somehow survive alone, but women back in the cave days was very different.
Absolutely.